Have you ever thought about how fragile our existence really is? We look at Earth today, its forests, oceans, and cities filled with life, and it feels permanent, unshakable, eternal. But the truth is far more terrifying. Our planet has come within inches of being completely wiped clean of life not once, but multiple times. Imagine an Earth where everything you know, every living creature, every blade of grass, every drop of water, almost vanished into nothing. This is the untold story of 5 moments when Earth itself stood at the edge of destruction. Let's go back, way back. More than 2 billion years ago, the world was not the vibrant planet you see today. It was a toxic wasteland, filled with methane, carbon dioxide, and oceans dominated by simple microbes. Then something happened that seemed like a miracle. Tiny cyanobacteria began producing oxygen through photosynthesis. At first, this might sound like the beginning of life as we know it, but for the world at that time, oxygen was poison. Entire ecosystems of microbes were wiped out. Billions of organisms choked to death as oxygen levels rose in the oceans and atmosphere. The seas turned rusty as iron reacted with this new gas. For the first time in history, Earth faced a silent apocalypse. Life teetered on the edge of annihilation. This moment, called the Great Oxidation Event, nearly ended everything before it truly began. But in a twist of fate, this disaster also set the stage for complex life to one day evolve. Life survived, but only barely. Fast forward to 252 million years ago, and Earth faced something far worse, an extinction so massive that scientists simply call it the Great Dying. Imagine entire forests shriveling into ash, oceans turning into acidic soup, skies filled with volcanic gases so toxic that sunlight could barely break through. This was the end of the Permian period, and it remains the most brutal catastrophe in Earth's history. Over 96% of marine species disappeared. Coral reefs collapsed. On land, towering forests withered, and more than 70% of all animals were wiped out. Picture entire valleys littered with the skeletons of creatures who never stood a chance. What caused it? Gigantic volcanic eruptions in Siberia that lasted for millions of years. These eruptions released unimaginable amounts of carbon dioxide and methane, triggering runaway global warming. Oceans lost their oxygen, turning into dead zones. Acid rain burned through landscapes. The Earth had truly become hell. If you were standing there, you would have believed the world was ending, and perhaps it almost did. Somehow, against all odds, a few resilient creatures survived, and from those survivors, life clawed its way back. But make no mistake, the Great Dying came terrifyingly close to erasing Earth's story forever. But that wasn't the last time the planet stared into the abyss. 66 million years ago, the reign of the dinosaurs was suddenly and violently brought to an end. Picture a warm day in what is now Mexico. The sky is clear. The forests hum with the sounds of enormous reptiles. And then, out of nowhere, a blinding fireball tears through the atmosphere. A rock the size of a mountain, 10 kilometers across, slams into the Yucatan Peninsula with the force of billions of nuclear bombs. The ground vaporizes. Forests ignite instantly. Tsunamis hundreds of meters high crash across coastlines. And then comes the long night. Dust and ash choke the skies, blocking the sun for months, maybe years. Temperatures plummet. Plants die, and with them the herbivores. The carnivores soon follow. Entire species vanish in a chain reaction of hunger and cold. This single impact ended the 160 million year rule of the dinosaurs in just a geological blink. Without it, mammals and eventually humans might never have had a chance. But from the perspective of that day, Earth was dying. If the asteroid had been slightly larger, or if the aftermath had lasted a little longer, the story of our planet could have ended right then. But even before the asteroid, Earth had faced another chilling trial, the Snowball Earth. About 700 million years ago, the planet plunged into one of the coldest eras in its history. Imagine waking up to see the entire planet covered in ice from pole to pole. Oceans sealed under kilometers of frozen crust. Temperatures falling to minus 50 degrees Celsius. Almost no sunlight penetrating the icy shell. For millions of years, Earth was a frozen tomb. Life, fragile and microscopic, survived only in tiny refuges. Cracks in the ice, geothermal vents on the ocean floor, places where heat could still reach. The vast majority of the planet was utterly lifeless. Scientists believe Earth remained locked in this snowball state for tens of millions of years. It is one of the closest calls in history, because if all the oceans had completely frozen solid, life may never have returned. Yet somehow, volcanoes released enough carbon dioxide to slowly warm the planet, melting the ice and giving life another chance. The fact that anything at all survived is nothing short of miraculous. But perhaps the closest humanity itself ever came to disappearing happened not so long ago. Only 74,000 years ago, our ancestors were nearly wiped out by one of the most catastrophic volcanic eruptions in history, the eruption of Toba in Indonesia. This supervolcano unleashed more than 2,800 cubic kilometers of ash and rock, darkening the skies around the entire globe. Imagine standing thousands of kilometers away and still finding your world plunged into darkness. Sunlight was blocked, global temperatures fell sharply, and rainfall patterns collapsed. Crops and wild plants failed. Starvation spread. Genetic studies suggest that the human population dropped to as few as a few thousand breeding individuals. That's right. Every single person alive today may be descended from a shockingly small group of survivors who clung to existence after Toba's fury. Humanity itself almost vanished, leaving behind nothing but silence. Think about that for a moment. 5 times life on Earth, including us, has been one breath away from ending. Oxygen poisoning, mass extinction, fire from the skies, and icebound prison of volcanic winter. Each of these moments could have been the final chapter. And yet, against all odds, Earth survived. Life survived. We survived. So the next time you look at the world around you, remember this. Our existence is not guaranteed. We are here only because of luck, resilience, and survival through unimaginable catastrophe. The Earth has come close to death before, and it will again. The only question is, will we survive the next time?